Hey guys, and welcome back to PSO2. So in today's video we're going to talk about two different playstyles when it comes to taking Hunter as a subclass. We're going to talk about the Iron Will Never Give Up playstyle, and we're also going to talk about Automate and kind of like a weak Iron Will that I like to tack on top of that as well. Before we jump into the video, now I'm going to put a link in or a timestamp in the description to where we start this entire conversation. But I want to take a quick second just to toss out a couple of things. Quick disclaimer, of course, as always, I'm under no delusion that I'm an absolute perfect player and that I will always have the end-all be-all when it comes to these strategies. My intention here is to provide you guys some information, that way you can make an informed decision on what you feel like is going to be better for you as an individual. No matter which of these two playstyles you choose, keep in mind the most important thing when it comes to this whole thing, or this whole situation, is you do 0 damage if you die. If you're not alive, you're not attacking, you're not dealing damage, you're not really getting anything done. So whatever is going to work better for you as an individual, that's what you should go for. I will talk about what I feel like is going to be not the best setup. I don't want to say wrong. It's kind of difficult for me to say a situation that this is a wrong setup, because there's going to be someone who's going to come up with some scenario where it's going to be the perfect ideal setup. But if there is a wrong setup, I'll give you what I think is the incorrect setup to go with, or the non-efficient setup, I guess you could say, and kind of my thoughts behind that as well. And I apologize, I have to take the time to actually say these sorts of things in videos. People come to this idea that because you're making content about a game or providing any form of information, that you yourself as a content creator feel like whatever you say is law and you have the most important and the most up-to-date information. That is 100% untrue. The whole reason we're making this video in the first place was actually because of a comment from another one of my viewers, who actually, I want to see, give me just a quick second. I'll bring that over here really quick, so let that load. I wanted to give him a quick little shout out from, and I'm probably gonna pronounce this completely incorrect, Brendy Ashmara, who posted on one of our videos about our bouncer tree and posted his tree as well. I was gonna kind of talk to him about what I felt about his tree may not be the best, or what he was kind of missing, but instead of that, putting this ridiculously long, drawn out comment, I figured I'd go ahead and talk about it here, because he took a skill that I usually don't take, and people always ask about it, you know, which ones should they go with, which one's better, which one's worse, so on and so forth. And it's this exact discussion. It's Automate versus Iron Will. So we're going to jump into that. We're going to talk about it a bit, and we're going to see what's going to work out better for you. The way that I broke this down is we're going to talk about the skill point investment in each of them. We're going to talk about the pros and the cons, and then scenarios in general that you can end up in, kind of your best case and your worst case scenarios, and kind of how you'll have to deal with each situation itself. So let's go ahead and start with Iron Will Never Give Up. So Iron Will Never Give Up, and the reason I put these together is mainly because if you benefit from mass attack, you should take both of them. Iron Will is a 75% chance to survive an otherwise fatal attack and be invincible for 5 seconds. Now, this will only proc if the user is above 1 HP from my testing. Now, I don't know if this is always the case. It's never worked. I've never had it a single time where it's worked for me, where Iron Will has procced when I'm at 1 HP already, but it's kind of difficult to test, since getting to 1 HP and you not surviving because of Iron Will is different. I'm not sure if it's like just like a tiny internal cooldown or something along those lines, where Iron Will won't proc a second time, like within a certain time frame. It doesn't say so on the tooltip, and I've never, you know, had a situation where I've been proc by Iron Will and then been proc by Iron Will again. So it's very difficult to test if it happens any other way. Plus, I've never been in a situation where I've been dropped to 1 HP and then procced Iron Will. So with all of those things considered, in a situation where you drop to 1 HP and you didn't proc Iron Will, assume that you will be killed if you take any more damage. That may not be true, but it's your safest bet. Now, alongside of Iron Will, for 5 more points, you can get a skill called Never Give Up. Now, this is what I mean by when S attack classes benefit, you should take this skill. Never Give Up for 5 points. When Iron Will is activated, you gain 300 S attack and increase your invulnerability window by 15 seconds. Now, I'm not sure if it's increase it to or increase it by. Again, I haven't tested this out extensively just because in situations where Iron Will is going to proc, it's usually about a 15 to 20-second window that you're looking at in the first place. So assume that a time frame of that. I'm sure someone will correct in the comments. So totally fine. You'll get the information you need. But the big portion of it is you gain that big chunk of S attack. So if you benefit from S attack, it's a damage. Now we're going to talk about kind of the pros and cons of Iron Will Never Give Up playstyle. So the pros are obvious. If you benefit from S attack, you get a huge damage. You get a huge damage spike, which is awesome. You also have plenty of time to recover your HP in a safe manner. You've got all of that invulnerability. You can't be hit. You won't take damage, so you can heal up at whatever rate works best for you. Now, classes that are already sitting at low HP fighters will benefit from this setup a lot more often than other classes. It's kind of a dream setup for the most part when it comes to being a fighter, since you're always at below, or most of the time you're at below 25% HP, or you're just at 25% of your maximum HP anyway. Iron Will tends to be really, really nice in those situations, since the chances of you dying is much higher than any other class in the game. Now, we'll talk about the cons of Iron Will Never Give Up, because they do exist. They're there. First off, no matter how you stretch it, you need to be healed at some point. If it's, well, let me rephrase that. You need to be healed at some point if you're going to take any more damage. Now, you could be in a situation where you're near the end of a quest and you don't need to be healed at all. You just finish the quest off with Iron Will at 1 HP and you're awesome. Now, if that's not the case, you'll have to be healed at some point from a tech on your end, or from someone else, or a healing item on your end, generally speaking. And this is going to be some form. Now, I say some form because it could vary. It could be some form of downtime and or a PP investment. So either a technique skill, like if you're a class that can just drop a Magiverse and do some damage, keep going like I do on Bouncer, or if you're a fighter and no one else is healing and you have to pop a healing item of some form, something is going to have to happen in that situation itself for you to be able to heal back up to take another hit if it ever happens. So that does cause a bit of downtime. Now, if you don't benefit from S attack as a class, so I'm thinking to myself what classes would end up being in this situation. I want to say Gunner and Ranger, and that would be about it. Unless people do a Summoner Hunter combo. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but I'm not sure if I know very little about Summoner. I haven't even leveled it, so I can't really talk too much about it. I'm not going to pretend to understand it exactly, but if you don't benefit from S attack, then you're not benefiting from the damage buff. You can still take Never Give Up for the extra invulnerability time, but you're not benefiting from the damage up whatsoever, so that kind of sucks. And outside of that, a worst case scenario is you still have a 25% chance of just dying. You get no bonus at all, you're just dead. Someone has to res you, you have to res yourself, or you fail the quest. So that's a 1 out of 4 chance. It's still pretty high. In most cases, you can't really plan for it. So that's the biggest thing, is it's RNG, it's not under your own control. Like, there's nothing you can really do about it other than just not die whatsoever, not take that fatal damage, not take that hit. And if that never happens, as awful as it is to say, you really just waste 15 points. So it's a huge point investment that you have no control over. And if it never happens and you never get hit, then it's a waste of 15 points. So that's just the reality of the situation. Look at it how you will. It's definitely really, really strong, but it does have its drawbacks as well. Now, we'll look at the other setup here, which is an Automate Halfline and a weak Iron Will setup. So Automate Halfline, if you're not aware of what the skill does, we're going to pop this up here really quick. And we're going to take one of those. Cool. So Automate Halfline, if you're not aware of what the skill does, for 10 points you have a 100% chance to use a Monomate, Dimate, or Trimate when you fall below 50% of your maximum HP. Now, this is a little bit strange for some people to fathom sometimes. So we're going to grab a calculator and I'm going to kind of show you guys something here. So we'll say you have 100 HP. Now, say you take a hit of 50 damage. Well, you're just at 50 HP. That's it. You don't actually heal just yet. But say you're at 100 HP, you take a hit of 51 damage. Now you've dropped below 50% of your HP. Now you're going to automatically trigger a mate item. So here's where the second part of this skill comes in mind. They don't really mention to you specifically, but you kind of infer based on the way it works. You're going to automatically use a monomate, dimate, or trimate. It just says it's going to automatically use a healing item, but it's one of those three, and it uses monomates first, then dimates, then trimates. So mostly you just want to get rid of monomates. You never really want to hold on to them, since all the heals are percentage based, and monomates are only 25% of your maximum HP. If this were to happen, get hit for 51% of your HP or 51 damage, and you heal with a monomate for 25 HP, I said 24, we're gonna just add 1. So 25 HP, you're up to 74 HP now. You're above 50%, you used your healing item. Oh no, what happens if you get hit for 51 again? Now you're at 23 HP, use that monomate again, you're at 48. Oh no, you get hit for 51 again. Now you're dead. You really don't want that scenario to happen too much. You have to be careful about those situations. Also, I'm actually, we're gonna take care of this other scenario a little bit later, but that's just how our automate Halfline works, just so you guys have an idea. So I also recommend in this setup taking a weak Iron Will, 1.30%. I've mentioned this so many times beforehand. Look, for other people, just in my stream, this is kind of a little bit of a meme. I call it the value point of Iron Will. For 1 point, you get 30%, and that's the biggest jump you get in a survivability percentage, like a chance to live from a single point. Everything afterwards, so going to level 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 10, those are only point jumps of between 4 to 6% chances per point. So 1 point will get you a 30% chance to live. It's pretty solid in situations where you're not trying to get that low on HP in the first place. The idea is that automate heals you up before you get that low in the first place. But if you're going to die, or if you're going to get one shot, a 30% chance to live isn't bad, since you're not relying on it anyway. It's just kind of an extra safety net that's there. Now, pros and cons of automate. The pros of automate are pretty obvious as well. The skill automatically triggers. It requires very little input from you, and you can keep your focus on attacking or even just being defensive if you need to, heal up or something along those lines, depending upon the situation you're dealing with. Which you needing to heal up is very, very rare, if anything else. Now, like mentioned before, because it's an auto skill or an automatically triggered skill, it has little to no downtime. When I say little to no downtime, in a perfect world, it has almost no downtime whatsoever. You're just going to full heal back up. You're going to drop right below 50 and bam, heal right back up for your maximum HP if you're playing it smart and you're only holding on to dimates. Some people actually only hold trimates because of that exact situation. They're only going to take minimum number of hits. They want to make sure if that happens, they don't have to stop for any reason. They can just keep on going. And trimates are a full heal, so it doesn't matter if you drop below, as long as you don't die, you'll full heal right back up again. Let it be noted as well, if you do take automate and you have this Iron Will skill and you take a hit that's going to one-shot you, automate Halfline will not trigger if Iron Will triggers. So basically, if you get one shot and Iron Will doesn't trigger, you just die. If you get one shot with automate Halfline and Iron Will does trigger, you're just at 1 HP. It actually does not trigger automate Halfline whatsoever. So at that point in time, you'll still have to heal yourself. So keep that in mind. Back to the pros is our automate Halfline is very easy to manage and predict. It's something that you know is going to happen 100% of the time based on the healing items that you have. You know exactly the healing items you have as long as you're keeping an eye on your inventory, or you can make, some people have an extra bar where they just swap over and take a look at the healing items that they have, so you don't have to open their inventory. It's very quick, and it's very easy to predict. Now, cons of this setup is you have a finite number of uses where, in theory, Iron Will can trigger infinitely. Automate Halfline can only trigger the number of times you have healing items in your inventory. So the average is about 20, just because you usually take 10 dimates and 10 trimates. You really don't usually use monomates for automate Halfline. Very rare circumstances would you ever do that, but in most cases it just doesn't happen. Like I mentioned previously, the skill won't trigger if you're taken from 100% HP to 0% HP, so in a single hit. So if you're one shot, doesn't work. And the most obvious and the worst offended part of, or the, I don't want to say the offender, but the worst part of taking automate Halfline is it encourages a bit of a lazy playstyle from the individual. It is nice to be able to automatically be healed up, that way you can stay in the fight. But a lot of people use automate Halfline as a huge safety net where they don't have to worry about healing themselves. They can just attack into stupid. Now, I'm included in this. Occasionally I know, hey, I've got automate, whatever, I'm doing this, I don't have to break what I'm doing right now because I know I'll heal back up and this isn't going to one-shot me. That's fine. But a lot of players find that difficult to move away from and change their playstyles after using it for so long. So it does encourage that playstyle, which can become self-destructive. You've got to be careful when using automate Halfline. The whole point of it is to be able to continuously keep uptime and have very little downtime, not for it to just keep you alive at all times no matter what the situation is, because you can very much still die. You can easily still die through automate Halfline if you're not playing it right. But that's really about it, guys, when it comes to these two individual playstyles. Now, I did mention I was going to also talk about how I feel, or if there's a wrong way to play this, the wrong way to play it, and then also even a scenario where I still feel like it's okay to play this way. Now, Fighter is a class that has a skill called Limit Break, and they have a lot of multipliers from being at low HPs, or low HP values. Fighters usually have a maximum HP of 25% most of the time, because they're going to want to be a limit break as much as possible. Now, I have seen fighters that will take Iron Will, Never Give Up, and automate Halfline for situations where if they're going to get one shot, they'd rather have the HP buff, or not the HP buff, the damage buff. But if they're going to be in limit break, having low HP, you can get chipped out very, very easily. So it's kind of like taking both of them. This is the one situation where I say, okay, I can see where or why you would want to take both of these skills. It's a huge stat point investment overall. However, this is a class I can understand why someone would do it. Other than that specific situation, this is the only way I feel like you could be playing it wrong. Taking Iron Will, Never Give Up, and automate Halfline if you're not a fighter just does not make sense to me whatsoever. Mainly because the two skills are opposing. Iron Will, Never Give Up, you're rewarded for basically dying on a 75% chance. With automate Halfline, the idea is that you never get low enough to die in the first place. So having the two of those skills together, I feel like is the only way of doing it wrong, unless you are specifically a class that's going to be in a situation where that's possible, but you also don't really want to get chipped out. If you're not a fighter, you're not limit breaking, you don't really have a chance to be in that situation itself. So if there is a wrong way to play it, I feel like this is the wrong way to do it, guys. But it's all what it takes for you to survive. At the end of the day, yes, you're going to gain more damage from one of them versus the other. Iron Will is just a stronger, more offensive ability, or Iron Will Never Give Up is a stronger, more offensive playstyle. To be honest, I feel like they both reward bad play. Iron Will Never Give Up does reward you more or less for almost dying, and automate Halfline saves you when you're just taking damage. So they both have their merits, and I guess they both have their demerits, or you want to call them, whatever, however you want to say that. They both have their ups and their downsides to them. How you play it is up to you. What you need is up to you. The biggest thing is if you're dead, you're not doing any damage. So whichever one of those two setups you want to go with, it's your choice to make. Now, hopefully that was informative for you guys. Hopefully that's going to let you guys figure out how you want to play the game, how your play style is going to work best for you. And and I just hit my perfect timer because this is me telling me that I have to go to work. Anyway, guys, like this video, or if you didn't like the video, you know where that button is. If you did like this video, go ahead and press that button as well. Get subscribed if you want to keep up with the videos. You can always find a link in my Discord if you guys want to understand or want to be notified of when these videos go live, or follow me on Twitter. I always post whenever a video goes up, so you guys will be able to see those super easily and super fast. Comment if you think I missed anything. If you want to spread some information to the community, it'd be awesome. I have no problem with that whatsoever, guys. Toss it into the comments, or any of your questions. I do my best to answer those. I was doing that right before this video, actually. And I'll see all of you wonderful people in the next one.